Have you heard that before? Got to give the president now. He gave us the New Deal. You know, you hold the cards now, and you deal. You just got to keep going here. I mean, I don't even know what they're even talking about. Somehow or another, the president will give us what we asked for, and we're just going to have to pay him back with our loyalty, I guess. "Give a Man a Job" was one of the songs back. One of the songs back during the FDR administration. Can we even play the song? We can't, can we? Can't play the song? Jimmy Durante did this movie for FDR where he said, "Give a man a job. Give a man a job. What are you going to do? You got to give a man a job." It was propaganda. Okay, so we laid the following staples of progressivism out yesterday. Now let's look here with FDR. Where did he go? Well, the first thing he did was he went to the individuals. He wanted to target individuals. What did Wilson do? He made a list of dangerous Americans. Remember, this was for the war. Dangerous Americans. If you got a danger, you can really help out. This was the economy first. So he needed a list of dangerous Americans. This is a list of dangerous Americans. He had to target them because they were stealing from the American people. One of them was Andrew Mellon, former Secretary of the Treasury for Harding and Coolidge. Wait a minute. Wasn't he? So he was the guy who designed the 1920 recovery. He's the guy who designed the economy to roar the way it did. Anti-progressive. Coolidge. Anti-progressive. He's a guy who was a hero in 1921, but a staunch opponent of the New Deal. So FDR used the IRS to investigate Mellon. He said that he was a tax cheat. He went on all the time and said, this man is cheating Americans. He's stealing from American taxpayers. Well, the press ate that up. The only problem with it is it was totally untrue. Fabricated. I mean, it went all the way to the Supreme Court. I mean, at one point they said the man paid his taxes. If you want him to pay more taxes, then you have to pass a law, but he paid it. In fact, he actually overpaid his taxes during the time they were investigating him, just to make sure. That wasn't enough. After it was thrown out of court, FDR went on the radio and said, "I'm telling you, he's a bad man. Destroy and discredit." Also, the publisher of the Philadelphia Daily News was another one of the loudest anti-FDR voices of his time, put in prison following a similar investigation ordered by FDR. What was next on this? Oh yeah, the DOJ was used to set up prison camps under Wilson. Here we have it here. Internment camps. FDR did the same thing in war. More than 100,000 Asians in America. The overwhelming majority of them were U.S. citizens. They were imprisoned without any due process. Property was lost. Lives were destroyed. They were citizens of the United States. Put them in internment camps. Citizens of the United States put in prison camps. We've done it twice now, and it's a progressive that did it. What's the next one? This was ban German books and German classes and language of hate. Well, again, if this is the boot, if you're going to launder it and learn from your mistakes, this becomes a shove. You don't just ban books. What you do is you review and edit things like Hollywood scripts. You start to edit the textbooks. You start to just slowly change them, make progress. FDR actually would pressure reporters to change their stories. He would go into people's office and say, "What are you working on?" And the reporter would be there in the White House, and he'd say, "Oh, Mr. President, I'm working on this." And he would sit down with them and say, "Can I make a suggestion? I mean, if I were you, I might take a different angle on that." They got the message. Most times, they changed the story. Hollywood always had to change everything. I mean, every script went through the Office of War Information, the Brains Trust. It went right through their hands. Nelson Pointer, He was the guy who looked at everything. It had to be approved. Every word about America, every word about the government had to be approved. It was common practice for them to change the Hollywood scripts. Okay, so we have making lists of dangerous individuals. We have setting up prison camps and putting people through with no due process. We have banning the books or reviewing books and Hollywood scripts for propaganda reasons, and also pressure to have reporters change their stories. We have that. Now, the next one. Do we have the Red Cross banning or excusing and promoting PC violence? We'll show you next. Wow, we have so much information for you. Take notes, take notes. Government elite knows best. Voices of opposition to be discredited. Progressives use war to push agenda. Progressives can see the Constitution as open to interpretation. It's an old dusty document. We've taken you now and shown you the first real evil president I think we ever had, Woodrow Wilson. For war purposes, 1917 did all of these things. We're looking for connections now to FDR, but laundered from the boot to a shove. He learned. In the office, this one was the Committee on Public Information. This one is the Brains Trust, the Office of War Information. Keyword, information. We showed you that, made a list of dangerous Americans, made a list of individuals to target, used the DOJ to set up prison camps, put people in prison, took their rights. Here, internment camps, took their rights. This one banned books, German classes. This one reviewed, edited Hollywood scripts, pressure on reporters to change the story. 4, Red Cross banned German Americans. 4, German and Italians had curfews and travel restrictions. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, approximately 600,000 Italian legal aliens in the United States were placed under these restrictions. The same kind of restrictions. There were prohibitions on travel for more than 5 miles from your home. Curfew. If you were Italian or German, you couldn't leave your house from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Confiscation of shortwave radios, firearms, cameras, flashlights, other signaling devices. Evacuation from any coastal town. German faced similar restrictions like curfews, confiscation of personal property, travel restrictions, evacuation from coastal towns. Okay, so it could never happen. We've done it twice now in the last 100 years. Number 5, excused and promoted PC violence. See if you can find the violence. We couldn't find any in the short time we had today. NRA boycott. That's not the National Rifle Association. That's the Recovery Act. That's the Blue Eagle. Do you remember that? We do our part. The Blue Eagle. It was voluntary business. Okay? It was... everybody was told, hey, you know, do your part. You want to do your part? You get the Blue Eagle on your... But then it turned into something more hideous where you were boycotted. And they were encouraged to boycott anybody who didn't have the Blue Eagle. The NRA propaganda, it never ended. The NRA teamed up with Hollywood for propaganda purposes. Do we have the featurette? Can we play it? No? No? Okay, we'll show the full screen. There it is. The NRA. It's a featurette, patriotically contributed by the motion picture industry. Okay. Now, the next was engaged in 4-minute mins. You have that with the NRA propaganda. Then, in Woodrow Wilson, you had read private telegrams. Well, here, you had giant fishing expedition and broad subpoenas. It was amazing. They put these broad subpoenas out to quiet the number of grassroots opposition groups all around the country. FDR ordered Senator Hugo Black to look for funding violations. Blanket, illegal subpoenas were issued. Privacy rights trampled. It didn't matter. I mean, I read something from Moley. I read his book. I can't remember the name of it. Reading personal diaries of people that worked with FDR. said it didn't matter. It didn't matter to him. Why didn't it matter?